भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब स्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी नमोऽस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवैत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः सर्वोपनिषदो वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजटा गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम्. No tea break between Harikatha and Sambodhana. Okay? One more time. नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम्. लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरहः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूया भारत पङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनश्रेते मूकं करोति वाचालम् पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततर्कतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः. Again. पश्य यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Who sits there behind you?
Harsh. Harsh.
Harsh, not here yet. So, we have seen how it is all long like that. So, how it is all going to lead to battle. This whole story we are looking at from the standpoint of how it is going to lead to these irreconcilable differences. You can't even call them differences because one side is practicing dharma and the other side adharma. What else is there? If it's not dharma, it will be adharma only. What else is there? And so here the Khandava Prastha it was called, and later the name was changed to Indraprastha. So this was the most barren half of the kingdom, and yet the Pandavas, just because of their sheer goodness, were able to attract lots of wonderful helpers, and even Bhagavan lent all the devatas lent their hands. It is said, where 6 things are there, then only Bhagavan helps. Very nice to remember this. There's a lot of 6s in Vedanta and in Dharma also. Udyamam. What kind of a mum is Udyamam? Udyamam, hard work. Yeah. Udyamam, hard work. Sahasam is the ability to stay with it. The ability to start something. The ability to stay with it. Dhairyam, courage. Buddhi. What is buddhi?
Intelligence.
Yeah, intellect. Resourcefulness. Shakti, the power to create, the creativity, ideas, the power to bring something forth. Shakti, Parakramaha, the valor. Parakrama means valor, and also the ability to see a project towards the end. I just don't feel like it, so I'm going to abandon it in the middle. That is not the idea. Okay? So, Udyamam, number 1, Sahasam, 2, Dhairyam, then 3, Buddhi, 4, Shakti, 5, Parakramaha, 6. Shad ete, these 6, Yatra Vartante, where they abide, Tatra Devaha, there Bhagavan is Sahayakrit. Sahayam karoti. Helps. Bhagavan becomes the helper. Even in English we have that. What is that? God helps. That is exactly. This is in Sanskrit, okay? And it's in a nice shloka. Everything is in a shloka, so we can remember it. So you can repeat. Udyamam sahasam dhairyam.
Udyamam sahasam dhairyam.
Buddhi shaktif parakramaha.
Buddhi shaktif parakramaha.
Udyamam sahasam dhairyam.
Udyamam sahasam dhairyam.
Buddhi shaktif parakramaha.
Buddhi shaktif parakramaha.
Shadete yatra vartante.
Shadete yatra vartante.
Tatra devas sahaya krit.
Tatra deva sahaya krit.
Shadete yatra vartante.
Shadete yatra vartante.
Tatra devas sahaya krit.
Tatra deva sahaya krit.
The Bhagavan won't feel like helping if you are sitting with a long face and waiting for a handout. Yeah. Give me something, help me, but you're not ready to help yourself. That is the idea here. So since the Pandavas were very hard working, and it was almost like Bhagavan took a watering can and decided to water the whole area which was all barren. Lord Varuna Bhagavan blessed, Bhudevi blessed, everything just flowered and it became wonderful. And then the elders advised Yudhishthira to do what is called a Rajasuya Yajna. A yajna where they get the, what is that, I don't know what that is called. They get all the other kings nearby, proclaim that they are great. That is what. They get the allegiance. That's the word. They get the allegiance of all the other kings nearby. That was the word I was looking for. So they get the allegiance of all the kings. So this is some kind of a ritual where this is done. And then even the people on the other side, namely Hastinapura, those we should not even bother naming, they were also invited. And of course Duryodhana saw that. His face was green with jealousy. His eyes were red with anger. Because he said, oh, I gave them this barren piece of rocky land and even that, look how flowers, oh, fountains, water, everything in abundance, so many fruits. And all the people, all the priests are getting so much dakshina. He liked to be generous with other people's money. So he snatched from Yudhishthira's hand the dakshina and he was busy distributing it. That's what the Mahabharata says. He was busy distributing, trying to get a name. And then they should have just come, eaten the food, had a good time, and then wished them well and gone back. Did they do that? No. What did they do instead? They went back fuming, furious, and greedy. Duryodhana wanted that as well, to be annexed. Why? You already have the best part of the kingdom. Hastinapura is yours, it was already decided. Yeah, but I want that too. Why? Because I can want it. Here is the story of unfettered greed. Unfettered means no bounds to the greed. A greed that does not have a fence around it is called unfettered greed. Because who is going to stop? Dhritarashtra is very indulgent of his sons, does not stop them. Gandhari, Dhritarashtra blind to their antics, all their bad antics. Gandhari blinded by Dhritarashtra, and so therefore there is nobody to check them. And so they could not get it by any dharmic means because they themselves had agreed to this partition of the kingdom. They could not live and let live. Enter Shakuni, who devised this very famous game of dice which were loaded. And so if you know the dice are loaded, you play in a certain way. If you don't know that they are loaded, you keep getting 0 all the time. But before that, we have to talk about the marriage of the Pandavas to Draupadi. Draupadi, King Drupada's daughter, had a twin brother by the name of Drishtadyumna, twin brother. And in fact, they were born out of a yajna. And the yajna was done out of vengeance. You see how there is all these little connections here and there. Why did Drupada have vengeance? He did not like Drona. And Drona felt insulted by Drupada. Why? Because they were childhood playmates. Drupada and Drona. And like children promised to each other, childhood friends, BFF. What does that mean? Best friends forever. So the childhood friends promise things to people. They say, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to give you half my kingdom. Drupada says. And Drona should have just kept quiet. But Drona, after they grew up, he goes to the kingdom to say, give me half your kingdom. So cheap. But anyhow, that's what he does. Who goes like that? But that's what he does. He says, give me half your kingdom. He says, I can give you bhiksha. I can give you alms because you're a brahmana. It doesn't suit you to ask for half the kingdom. That was the childhood promise. You're going to hold me to it now. And because he offered him bhiksha, alms, Drona felt insulted. And he said a few things, etc. And then Drupada felt insulted. And then he promptly did a yajna to beget children who would kill Drona. That's how Drishtadyumna and Draupadi were born. And so this Draupadi is a very independent and wonderful, very fiery and independent character in the Mahabharata. And so she grew up and she had this, what is that called? Swayamvara. 8 forms of marriages were accepted in the ancient times. The Swayamvara was one of them. Of course, you have to be a princess. You can't just say, I'm going to have a Swayamvara. Any old girl cannot do that. You have to be a princess. And so, what does that mean? All the kings are invited, kings and princes of reputed families. And then she has a garland and she goes from one to the other. She looks at them head to toe. And the prince will have a sidekick because it doesn't look nice for the prince to say, I know how to paint, I know how to cook, I have these many territories in my kingdom, I have this much in my, kosha? What is kosha? Treasury. In my treasury I have this much, all these things. You cannot tell about yourself. It looks very funny to blow your own trumpet. So one trumpeter comes along. So he'll say, this is Raja Dhiraj Maharaj and this is his reputation and this is what he does. He has never hurt a fly. He is vegan, he is vegetarian, all these things, whatever they want to tell. He is a musician, he is a scholar, he is an astrologer, not just a king because that's boring. He likes to go on hikes. I'm modernizing it a little bit, yeah. And in those days, more than the hike, they would go on a hunt. Okay? And so this is our Raja. And unimpressed, the princess would move on. And they just have to sit down. Okay, they have been rejected. After they are rejected, they are dejected. And that is how it goes. Then, Draupadi already liked Arjuna. She had seen him somewhere and Arjuna also liked her. And then, so for Draupadi's Swayamvara, she decided to do things a little differently. She wanted to make sure that she would get Arjuna alone as her husband. So she devised this particular archery feat, a feat of archery which only he could accomplish. While looking in the water, he had to hit the eye of a fish that was suspended onto a rotating pole. He had to look inside the fountain and do this to the fish, pierce the eye of the fish that was rotating. And everybody else could not, nobody could do it. Only he could do it. He could do it and he married her. And Karna, who is Karna? Remember?
First son.
Yeah. Who?
First son of
Yeah, first son of Kunti. Yes. Yeah. Abba, I'm so happy. So, this is a son of Kunti. And so then, this, he also came. He showed up at the Swayamvara. He said, I am a prince. I don't feel like I'm not a prince, I'm a prince. I'm also going to go inside and woo Draupadi. I'm also going to ask for her hand. But they said, Gee, you are the son of a chariot repairman. We are not going to be let inside. And he was angry and sad, both. He was just seething with all kinds of emotions. Enter Duryodhana. Duryodhana came, slinked up to him and said, My friend, you are not being treated well, are you? Come to Papa. I will make everything okay. Let me hug you, let me hold you, let me listen to your tears. Oh, they say you are not a Kshatriya. Don't worry, I am going to make you a king of a principality called Andhra Pradesha. So you are going to be the king. Karna is like, really? Yes. So you never ever have to have that inferiority complex thinking that you are not the king. You are the king. Look, you have a king means what? You should have a kingdom to rule. Now I am giving you a kingdom to rule. That makes you the king. Nobody is going to worry about your antecedents. Who is your mother, who is your father, etc. Nobody is going to ask. You are the king now. Come on, be happy, cheer up, wipe these tears. They are so unmanly. They don't become you. Instead, help me to overcome them. These bad Pandavas who kept you out. You see, this kind of an indoctrination. Duryodhana went and did that to each and every one. Anyhow, we'll come back to, we'll hear a lot about Duryodhana's antics. But before that, Arjuna comes back with valiant and happy with Draupadi. And all his brothers are also very happy for him. And he says, the mother is in the puja room in the palace. And he says, Mom, look at what I got. And you know, for mothers, no matter how old the son or daughter becomes, they're always like maybe between 5 and 6 years old. That's what it is. You know. And so the mother said, I can't come out and see what you have because I still have to do my anusthana, I have to do my puja. Mom, this is important, you have to come. Meaning he wanted it to be a surprise and he wanted the mother to welcome Draupadi with the arati plate and make the daughter-in-law enter the house, set foot in the house for the first time. But Kunti did not know what it was all about. And so she said what she had been telling him from age 5. What was that? Whatever you got, I have told you, share it with your brothers. Oh no, what a travesty. Then, I think Nakula and Sahadeva fainted. They were not very brave to hear all this. They didn't know what to do. And then finally when she came out, she said, oh, what has happened here? But you see, the whole thing, the whole epic is because of a promise. The whole Hindu tradition is because of a promise. It's all filled with promises. You do not go back on your word. You die, but you keep your word. This is how the tradition used to be. This is the basis of the tradition. You don't go back on your word. Once a given word is maintained, you never, ever, ever go back. You cannot go back. It is just not allowed. Same thing we find in the Ramayana. Dasharatha had given 2 boons. To who? Kaikeyi. And he could have easily retracted them because nobody was present when the boons were given. No material witness. And it was a monarchy, not a democracy. So what was that? The legislature, judiciary and the executive branches of government were all in Dasharatha's hands. All he could have done, all he could have said was, what boons? Shut up, get dressed. It's time for the coronation. And she would have had no choice. But he could not do that. Why? Dharma, the given word, is honored. So here the mother, the elder, has given a word and it has to be honored. So a sabha was called, an assembly of elders was called. Draupadi was consulted, all the people were consulted, and then rules were put in place. How she would stay with all the 5 people. How she would be the queen for all 5 of them. How to share her, the rules were done. 2 years with each prince. And the other ones could not email, SMS or phone call in those 2 years. That's how it was. And this arrangement was made with after an assembly of elders were called. And first Draupadi had to say yes. And she said, yes, I will keep the mother-in-law's word, because that is how the society is built, on the given word. This is the force of the tradition. So then back to so that all happened, and then back to the present now, with Duryodhana festering in his mind, plotting to take over Indraprastha also. He cannot do it by just means. So what to do? Uncle Shakuni to the rescue. And what does Uncle Shakuni do? Uncle Shakuni also is into gambling. Uncle Shakuni splits open the dice and puts some lead in it or whatever, iron balls in it, whatever, so it only skews to one side. And if you know that it is loaded, you can keep on getting 6s all the time. If you don't know it's loaded, you will always get 0. And interestingly, the 4 throws of the dice are again according to the yugas. Kali, Treta, Dwapara, Satya. That is how it is. So then, Dharmaputra, Yudhishthira, even though he was so dharmic and everything, had a terrible weakness. For what? Gambling. Every gambler thinks, next time I'm going to win. This time, a little loss. And then you win a little bit. And what you see? The streak has changed. I'm going to win again. It never happens. Never, ever, ever happens. Next time does not come. And next time does not come because next time also because the dice are loaded. Then how will the next time he will win? He will not win, but he did not know. Went on playing, went on playing, went on playing. And addiction always brings you to the brink of adharma. Always. Because your love for that addiction, that object of addiction, makes you do ullanghanam, crossing over that which is dharmic, which is correct, which is right. Same thing happens to Yudhishthira. What does Yudhishthira do? He stakes Draupadi at the suggestion of Shakuni. Draupadi is not property. Women and children are not regarded as property. They are people in their own right. But he did the mistake of staking. And Draupadi asked when she is told. She is somewhere inside. And she was in isolation. We are told she was on her period. So she was just spending time by herself. And she was brought out of isolation, and she was informed, you have been staked in the game of dice. And she said, who did this? Your husband Yudhishthira. What right does he have to stake me? She asks. How could he do this? Who is he to do this? And so they lost the kingdom. They lost Draupadi also. And she was dragged by the hair, brought into the sabha. Dushasana misbehaved with her. In full view of all the elders, Drona sitting right there, Bhishma sitting right there, Dhritarashtra sitting right there. Okay, he was not seeing what was happening, but he was hearing her screams and cries. And people would have told him what was going on. Kripa, another Acharya, sitting right there. Nobody said a word. Nobody came to her aid, and the Pandavas were silenced by their, now we can say, wrong interpretation of dharma. Yes, it is not good to be, violent and everything, but if you have been cheated in the game of dice, if you've been cheated, then that means that the rules are gone now. You have to call out the fact that that these people are cheaters. Bhima, who is very strong, wants to kill Dushasana on the spot. But Yudhishthira holds his hands. And Arjuna also is seething with anger. Yudhishthira stops him from attacking the Dhritarashtra's sons. They sit there mute, and Draupadi says that even though I have 5 husbands, not one will come to do this. Durvasa, and then Dushasana proceeds to disrobe her. Everybody knows this story. Durvasa's boon helps, and she cries out, Krishna. And Krishna becomes a weaver and manufactures magically on the spot thousands and thousands of saris. As soon as Dushasana takes off one, she is clad in another. When he pulls out another one, she is clad in yet another. Beautiful, gorgeous saris of all kinds. Then Dushasana is tired. A warrior like Dushasana is tired means how many saris? At least 1,000 saris have been tried to pull off of her. But she is still in a gorgeous sari, and there are thousands of saris, a mountain of saris lying there. His shoulder hurts, and he gives himself a little massage, doesn't help, and his wrists are gone. That's the first undiagnosed case of carpal tunnel syndrome. Historically. And he just sits down, he says, I can't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Vikarna comes. Who is Vikarna? Brother of Duryodhana's brother. Little bit of dharma in his head, but he was actually very dharmic. And he cries. He said, she is the daughter-in-law of the Kuru clan. How can you do this? He makes an impassioned speech. He says, give them their kingdom back. And this game of dice was also a dharmic, because the wrong things were staked, and this should not have been done. And they were plied with intoxicating substances like wine and all these things, soma, wine, all these things, God only knows what else. And then so they were not in their senses when they staked the kingdom. This should not be done. And how can you dishonor a woman like this? And at least as prayashchitta, as an act of atonement, give them their kingdom back. Let them live in peace, let them go, let them be easy. And then Dhritarashtra, because again it's his own son speaking. When Arjuna spoke, when everybody else spoke, he wouldn't listen. When his own son spoke, He said, yeah, he was moved. He was moved by Draupadi's cries and then moved by Vikarna's speech. And then he said, okay, let them have everything. I as an elder am saying, give them Indraprastha, return back Draupadi, and let us just live in peace. We don't want anything from them. They don't want anything from us. Let us just live in peace. Duryodhana says, no, I am the king. How can you may be the king's father? That just makes you some kind of a grand sire of the kingdom. You are not the king. I am the one making orders here, and I say charge. I say charge and teach them the lesson. Do this. Then everyone pleads with Duryodhana, the psychopath, really, and sociopath. And then then they finally, this is so crazy, they finally agree to one more game of dice. The game of dice which was already fraught with so much bad consequences. They agree to one more game of dice. And after one more game of dice, they say, if they win, Duryodhana suggests this, I'll give them everything. If they lose, then what? They have to be banished for 12 years into the forest. This happens in the Ramayana also. I don't know what this kind of a penchant they have, this desire to banish people into the forest. Oh, ye kya baat hai? I don't understand this. Why they have to keep banishing people into the forest? 12 years they'll be banished into the forest. Shakuni suggests this. Duryodhana agrees, but he puts a condition. For one more year they have to live Ajnatavasa, a life of Ajnatavasa, incognito life. Nobody should know that it is them. How are you going to hide Bhima? Tell me. Huh? How are you going to hide Arjuna, who has the luster, the radiance, and who is very popular? Everybody knows him. It's like hiding a Bollywood celebrity. It's not possible. Arjuna is like that, very famous. People sing his praises. Wherever he goes, hundreds of people want his autograph. How are you going to hide him? So 12 years and then 1 year incognito. And if they are found out in the incognito period, they have to go back to the forest for 12 years and then again 1 year incognito, indefinitely. This way he thought, I'll continue to be the king for 13 years at a time. Not a bad idea. And so the Pandavas went to the forest. He stayed there and he was the de facto ruler, corrupt, tyrannical ruler. Everybody was in distress. Brahmanas were ignored, and Brahmanas were ignored means their value was not understood. Their advice was not taken. Nothing went as it should. And then what happened was that the Pandavas were successful. They survived the forest for 12 years. And then they went to the kingdom of an ally, Virat Pradesha, King Virat's kingdom. So Virata hid them, he dared to hide them. And then they found ingenious ways to hide Bhima. He liked to cook. Okay, and so they put him in the basement kitchen, where he would be the cook for the whole palace. He had his own way of cooking. He wouldn't bother cutting the pumpkin into little pieces and sauteing them with a little olive oil. All that was not for him. If he wanted to make sambar, he would smash 2 pumpkins together and put it in a big thing. That was his cooking. There was another fellow also there here, Nalapaka. He was also a very great cook. Damayanti's husband married Nala. So this Nala was into making, roses from carrots and delicate cooking. So we have 2 styles of cooking, Nalapaka and Bhimapaka. So if anybody is very delicate in carving vegetables too, in the shape of devatas and all these things people do, and people do this, and then they don't feel like eating them. How to eat Ganesha? So like this, if they, we call such a person Nala style of cooking. And some people are they just want to make sure that it is done and it is tasty, that's all they want. They're not into delicate things. So we call them Bhima style, people who subscribe to the Bhima style of cooking. So Bhima was able to be hidden, alright. And then Nakula, Sahadeva, they were not so much up front and center, they could also be hidden. And then who is left?
Arjuna.
Yudhishthira became the king's companion. He disguised himself a little bit and became like a friend of the king. Didn't go out with him, but inside the palace, the king has made a new friend. Kings are known for their whimsies. They can have a friend one day and the next day they can cut his head off also if he angers the king. So then they allowed him to, nobody knew he was Yudhishthira. Who is left? Arjuna. Now Arjuna, this is a quandary. How do you hide Arjuna? Everybody in the palace will also know. And so Arjuna encashed one of his not boons but curses. Arjuna went to Indraloka. He is the only one who is heaven returned. Arjuna, yes. He went to Kailasa also. He went to Indraloka. He was gathering what is that called? Ammunition and astras for the war. Yeah, so that's why he had gone to all these extraterrestrial places. And while they were waiting for Indra to come, there was a heavenly nymph. Nymphs are ageless because in heaven you don't age, you don't die. Lord Yama is not allowed. Remember, Swamiji told us. And here, Urvashi, the ageless beauty, was there. Heavenly nymph. She smiled at Arjuna. Arjuna did not return the smile. She came and she tried to hold his hand. He just rebuffed her. Why? She was very beautiful, very desirable also. He rebuffed her saying, you are in Indraloka, you are in heaven. Many of my ancestors, I am sure, went to heaven. And they would have enjoyed you, so you are kind of my stepmother. You are like a mother to me. So I'm sorry, I cannot enter into any kind of a relationship with you. And then saying he falls at her feet. And Urvashi has never been rejected in her whole life. Never ever. Urvashi says, ye kya ho raha hai? What is happening? How can this be happening to me? And then she says, it's all your fault. You're making me feel terrible. I never had any bout or loss of self-confidence. This is the first time I'm losing self-confidence, all because of you. What's wrong with you? Are you not a man? And then she has an idea for a curse. And then she said, may you lose your manhood and live like a eunuch. Arjuna is very frightened of this curse and runs to Indra. And Indra says, no, come on, take it back. Once a curse is uttered, it cannot be taken back. However, it can be edited, abridged, mitigated, and somewhat neutralized. Then when Indra, the king of heaven, requested her, she said, all right, for 1 year, you will become a eunuch. And then Indra said, come on, give something else. This is not nice. I mean, he's a warrior. What are you doing? All right, 1 year of your choice. And so when he needed to be in hiding, he decided to encash Urvashi's curse. And in those days, the eunuchs were put in charge of the Antahpura. What is Antahpura? Inner apartments where the women stayed to be safe. So the eunuch was safe because there is no manhood here in question. And so Arjuna, remember I had told you he was very good in painting, singing and dancing. So for 1 year he was the fine arts teacher to all the princesses and the queens in Virat kingdom. Okay. So as the year was coming to a close, Duryodhana, the troublemaker, decided to do a little bit of a border skirmish. Because he had a feeling there in Virat Pradesha. He also visited that once or twice just to make sure, but he could not, nobody would tell him anything. And he could not find out. He was not welcome at King Virat's palace, but he could not find out from the subjects either. And so he went back, but he had a feeling, 90% they are in this place only. How to find out? Let us just, go there, and this is the border of Virat Desha, Virata place, and just go there and steal a few cows and come back. So this is what he did. He tried to steal a few cows, and then the army got alerted. And then what? Arjuna got his manhood back. That's when he knew and year is up. And then he went out and he fought off the intruders. The intruders were paid, nuisance makers, troublemakers in Duryodhana. Duryodhana had bribed them to go stage a little conflict. Duryodhana had not kept a proper calendar. He thought that the 1 year is not up. So when he saw Arjuna fighting, he said, "Hey, I have found you out, a year is not up. And therefore you have to go back to the forest." And then all the elders said, "No, the year has just elapsed. Now, according to the agreement, you have to give them back Indraprastha. You have to give them back everything. Whatever you took, you have to give them back." What does Duryodhana says? Yes, yes. Am I right? No. What does he say? Absolutely not. What are you talking about? I've been the king for 13 years. I want to continue being the king. Who are these people? Do they even know how to rule? Look at them. I'm not going to give anything back. The Pandavas pleaded with the elders, pleaded with Lord Krishna also. Please be the mediator. Please avoid any kind of war. We don't want half the kingdom. We just want to go to a place to call our own, where we can just be. We don't want to rule the kingdom. We don't want to cause any kind of nuisance because we are dharmic. We don't want to do that. Krishna goes and gives a lot of proposals. Give them half the kingdom. No. Okay, give them 5 principalities like you gave Karna 1 principality. So like they made him the king. Give them like 5 regions where they can call themselves kings and be there. No. Give them 5 villages. No. Give them a village with 5 houses. No. Give them a house with 5 rooms. No. And then he said, okay, this Krishna is keeping on going on like this. So let me put a stop to these bargaining efforts. I will not give them even the place that is occupied by the tip of a pin, a needle. What is the place occupied by the tip of the needle? No place. In other words, I will not give any place up at all. Now, it doesn't. Now the matter has gone beyond the scope of just a lost kingdom that we are trying to fight back and get. The matter is one of deceit, of fraud, of illegal and unlawful behavior, and also adharmic behavior. And it has to be corrected for the good of the world. It has come to the place of dharma and adharma. And that's why war was inevitable. Duryodhana was scratching for a war. He was like a mad bull. fighting for a war, really wanted it, bloodthirsty. And the Pandavas had no option. Arjuna really did not want to fight, but they had to get ready for the battle. There was no other goal. So the date was decided, time was decided. Nowadays, you don't decide time or date. Some drone warfare and something comes and drops something somewhere, and then you say, okay, we have some preemptive strike. All that is not allowed. There were certain rules of engagement for the war. You could not shoot somebody who did not have their bow and arrow. You could not shoot somebody who was, if the soldier was on foot, he could be shot only by another foot soldier. Somebody on an elephant could not harm that person who was on foot. Similarly, if you were on a chariot, you had to wait for the other person to get into a chariot before you started to fire your arrows. All these rules were there. War was also governed by dharma, just like the society. Dharma means dharyate, that which upholds the whole world. And Lord Krishna says so. It says as well, dharyate idam jagat. He is going to say that in the Bhagavad Gita. That which upholds everything. And how does dharma uphold? Through an unsaid, unwritten series of laws which we all have to obey. Why? Why do we have to obey? Because we want to be treated right. You ask anybody anywhere, do you want to be defrauded? What will they say? No. Do you want to be cheated?
No.
No. Do you want to be lied to? No. Do you want to be beaten up? No. Do you want to be stolen from? No. Do you want to be killed? Of course not. You ask anybody in any language. This is not something cultural. Oh, in Indian culture, they don't want to be defrauded. No such thing. This is universal. That is why it upholds the whole Jagat. This is universal. This is not like, oh, in Indian culture they don't like to be cheated. No one likes to be cheated in no culture. There is not any single culture in the whole world where somebody will say, yes, please, I am waiting for you to cheat me. When are you going to come? Nobody talks like that. I don't want to be cheated. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want my possessions to be taken away. I don't want to be robbed. I don't want to be injured. I don't want to be killed. I don't want to be deceived. Therefore, tasmat, what should I do? I should not lie. I should not lie to another. I should not cheat another. I should not defraud another. I should not injure another. I should not kill another. That is how it works. And that same dharma is codified in the governments of all countries. Everywhere you see, the laws are more or less the same. Not in any time, not in any place. Is there a law that says homicide, means killing somebody, is okay in our country? Never. Okay, killing someone is not okay now, but earlier it was okay. Never. Never. This itself shows that it goes, these laws in the government, etc., go beyond just the codification of, man-made or woman-made ideas which are now in the form of laws. No. This is natural. Dharma is sensed in every heart. Even a small child, a 2-year-old, the mother will say, you cannot have another sweet. Only one. Okay, only one it says. Mother goes to the other room, puts his hand in the box which has the sweets. takes another one out and is about to enjoy, the mother comes back. Even the 2-year-old child who has not had a single lesson on dharma looks guilty. And will try to hide, no, I was not, I was just hanging out. Show me that hand. Okay, nothing. See, show me the other hand. Nothing. See, show me both the hands. Then it is caught. This is how it is. Even a 2-year-old knows. I was not supposed to do it. I am doing something I was not supposed to. This is dharma. It is sensed. It is sensed just like the baby monkey senses that I have to hold on to my mommy for dear life. I have to hold on to the mummy. Why should the baby monkey hold on to the mummy? Because mummy monkey is not going to be put on maternity leave. After she gives birth, she is not on 3-month maternity leave. What does she do after she gives birth? Jumps from one tree to another tree. The baby better follow if it wants to be alive. It holds on to the mummy for dear life, literally. That's how the expression monkey grip has come. The grip of the baby monkey who does not want to die, who does not want to fall, yet nobody gave it a lesson. Nobody invited all the baby monkeys and said, okay, we are going to have a lesson how to hold on to the mother. Lesson number 1, do not let go. And one baby monkey having a question, what will happen if I let go? Grandma monkey saying, you will fall. What will happen when I fall? You will die. What does it mean to die? No such lesson takes place. Instinctive it is to be able to hold on to the mother for dear life, because that's where the food is. That's where the nurturing is. That's what I need to live. Lunch is going. Lunch is jumping from tree to tree. I better follow. Otherwise I will not make it. Somehow it is sensed. Similarly, dharma is also sensed in the same way, without any instruction. And what do religions do? Religions, through all these mandates, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not cheat another, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that. So many things are there. Rules. What are they called? Commandments. They just reiterate what is already sensed. They just reinscribe them, they just remind you of them, that it's already there. In the heart it is already there. Same thing in the Upanishads and the Veda. Veda also says, Dharman na pramaditavyam, kushalan na pramaditavyam, Svadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. Don't swerve from dharma. All these things the Upanishad says, Vedas say, but they already tell you things what you already know. Satyam vada, dharmanchara. All these things you know. I have to speak the truth. Satyam vada. You know that already. You don't need the Veda to come and tell you speak the truth. You know that already. Yet, what the Vedas say and what any scripture in any religion might say, what does it say? It just reinforces what one already senses. Yet, greed, raga, dvesha, intense hatred for a person, just like Duryodhana had for Arjuna and all the Pandavas. All this can and often sadly does overrides dharma. Overrides means what? Dharma does not become important as fulfilling the object of my love, hatred, addiction, whatever it is, greed. That becomes more, that takes a front seat. Dharma recedes and adharma Adharma means wrong dharma, overpowers dharma. Absence of dharma overpowers dharma. And then what we have is this. This is really, metaphorically speaking, the battle. The battle is between dharma and adharma in each and every heart. That's why the heart, metaphorically, is called dharma kshetra. Because right here is dharma is where it is felt. If you are hurt or if you hurt somebody and then you feel bad, this is where you feel it. So the heart is the place of dharma. That's why the Bhagavad Gita opens with dharma kshetra. And then what? Kurukshetra. What is Kurukshetra? Kurukshetra is a place near Delhi, physically speaking. But here Kurukshetra metaphorically means the head. Where all karmas, it is a karma factory, action factory. And why are there actions? Because there is desire. No desire, no action. Lots of desires, lots of actions. So this is a factory, desire factory, mind, buddhi, etc. So it's a Kurukshetra, Karma Kshetra. Because of the pressures of the desires exert a pressure which makes one go against one's own value system. This is the problem. This is why the person goes with the desire and forgets about dharma. And that is the battle between the head and the heart. The heart knows what is right. The head will not listen. Why? Because it is getting ahead of itself. And the ahankara is wedded to adharma, raga, dvesha, etc. So this is the eternal battle of the jiva, a metaphorical battle. That's why the Shastra is inevitably given. The teaching is inevitably given in the battlefield for this reason and this reason alone. More we'll see after your weekend. And what else? So tonight's satsang is there. And so please come. Many people are not coming, but we are doing a text. So it is not optional unless you are sick or something. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidah Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru